Hello, everybody. Welcome to Endgame Sensei, where I give a position to two aspiring young IMs to test their mettle, to see how they play, and to also just explore some interesting positions. In openings, we sometimes use the fancy word topical. We'll say, oh, this is a topical opening. Well, this is a topical endgame because it was played just today. In fact, the game isn't even over. It's been going on for hours. This is Niels Grandelius from Sweden against Fabi as black. Fabi's chess has been in a little bit of a crisis, and maybe that crisis is related to some of the moves he plays in this position. I don't know. In any case, I think it's fascinating to ask first in this position. By the way, it's black to move. Who is better and why is my first question, and then we're going to ask how should black play the position. So I'm going to go ahead and start a poll while our two contestants consider what they think about the position. And then, the poll will run. We'll see the results of the poll. And, then we'll go from there. And then, excuse me, we're not going to just go from there. We're going to have them play it out. When they play it out, I am going to talk all kinds of smack just because they can't hear me, and it's my opportunity to do my thing. We'll also be talking a little bit just about what thoughts we think should be going on. I will say, guys, that I just want to give a heads up that I was very wrong or at least, I don't know, I haven't looked at it with the computer or anything, but by wrong, I'm usually gotten good at predicting a lot of Fabi's moves. I wasn't good in this game. I was not good.
So, and did you say it was white to move or black to move?
Black to move. Yeah, black to move.
Oh, okay, because the screen says white to move.
That's because that's from an ancient thing. Thank you for noticing that.
One other thing, Jesse.
Yeah.
Like you said you talk smack because we can't hear you, but I go back every week and check what you said, and then I cry myself to sleep. So.
Ooh, that's cold, man. I'm sorry about that. About that. Yeah. All right. I'm in trouble. No? Yeah, there it is. All right. So we'll say black to move. Right. Darn it.
I voted for the Sensei account.
Okay. So let's start with you, David. What are some of your thoughts in this position? In fact, let me do a little jadoob here. Let's flip this thing just so, since it is black to move, be a little bit clearer here. It is black to move. We got a great comment. White seems more turtled. That's a nice comment. All right, David. Yeah, what are some of your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, one of my first thoughts was that black had placed the knights to kind of keep white from playing knight e5 and encroaching like that. Mm-hmm. But then I thought about it some more and refined my ideas a little bit. And I think it's quite important that it's black to play. I think if it were white to play, white would have an advantage.
Okay.
And I think with black to play, they can probably equalize with the move that I might play or that Ghost might play.
Okay, so you think it's equal?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Kosi, you have any thoughts? You want a moment to think about it?
Yeah, I'm definitely still not sure. My instinct would be that the position should be about equal, as well. And yeah, I guess I would maybe rather have black, but it's a real small preference.
Okay.
The static factors seem to be in white's favor mildly, like the pawns being on light squares, the potential outposts being on dark squares for white and on light squares for black. But I think black's just active enough to hold it together.
Okay. We have a first in Endgame Sensei history. We have the same number of votes here in our poll for white, equal, and black. So, really interesting moment here. let's just say I want to just say that this was the position that, just a couple hours ago, we were streaming, and we were talking about it, and I'm very confused by a lot of the moves by both players. And one of the reasons I did this position, it was in just a selfish sense, is that I was hoping you guys could help me understand some things. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to say anything about what I think about the position. We're going to start this match. Once the match is started, I'll start saying some things. And also in chat, if you would like to put in what you think the best move for black is, that might be interesting and fun for you to do. Okay, so Kostya, David, are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to mention,
Yep.
right before we get started, I think Fabi just won the game,
Yeah.
as we were speaking this moment.
Oh.
And let's just say mistakes, we would definitely see that mistakes were made on both sides. And one of the amazing things about this endgame, of course, is it's very rich. And we'll talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it. Okay, so David says equal. Kostya says maybe he'd rather be black. So let's give it that way. So David will be white. And hello, Kostya will be black. We're keeping with our 5:30 time control. And boom, boom. All right, you ready? And then they're going to turn off their mics once they start, and then I'll start saying some terrible things. All right, here we go.
Already.
There we go. All right, you guys. Yeah, I want to flip the board here too, just so I see it from Fabi's perspective. Now, as I kind of hinted at earlier, I've been following Fabi's games really with the intention, just witnessing some good chess. And I like to focus just on one player, like him and Magnus being, I think, the top players in the world. They're my favorite people to just kind of compare my own thoughts with in positions like this. Now, I felt that Fabi was for sure, 100% going to play knight f4 here. And I'm still confused why it didn't happen. Fabi played f6, which of course makes sense to bring the king out and dominate the knight on f3. Mitch and Vishnu like to make fun of me whenever I talk about pawns dominating the knight, but that's the intention of f6. And if Helikosi doesn't move, there he goes, he does play f6. So we're going to have to talk to him too about why he doesn't like knight f4. Maybe there's just something that I don't see. I don't know. The basic dynamic of the position, as I see it, is something close to what David said, namely, the static features of the position favor white because the bishop on c8 is poor because he's got all those pawns on light squares. And the dynamic features favor black. We've got the e-file, we've got things of knight f4, and at least at the moment, it's white who has to tend to the pawn on d4. Okay, so big question here about what white should do. g3 is played. Now that's the move I thought for sure white should have played too in the game. Why? Obviously, it prevents knight f4, but also I think it's a positive thing that I can get bishop g2 in at some point. Big question for black. I'm going to assume Kostya is going to play king f7. And Fisher Seb is saying the game is not over. Let me just check in quickly. Yeah, game's not over. Oh my God, and it's such a mess. Oh my gosh, it's such a mess. I'm just going to leave it there for a sec. We're going to come back to it. We will have our opportunity to look at the mess later. Yeah. I will say this, whether or not whoever wins doesn't really speak to, let's call it the truth or whatever you want to call it about this position, because the position became so convoluted. And as could be expected, both sides made moves that were at least suspect, I think that's just the nature of the beast. There was, interestingly, I think in chat, there were some people, Paul 1E4, among them being like, this is a draw. And I was like, no, it's not. But I think a lot of chess fans see a position like this and they're just like, oh, there's nothing going on. No, there's, I want to just say, I think there's all kinds of stuff going on in this position. Okay, bishop f5, very ambitious move. And white has several ideas. Let's flip it. We can go ahead. It's not a crime. We can look at it from the person whose move it is. So, with bishop f5, one of the questions is how useful is this bishop e4 thing going to be? It's definitely something I would consider if I was black. Rook c1, threatening bishop a6, will be an idea for white here. He could also try to lay-mo out with rook e1. All right. Mr. Proust, in general, a very aggressive man. And he plays rook c1. Okay. So, I think that if bishop e4, Mr. Proust will probably just play knight fd2. And we're going to say the obvious. The problem with the black position is the knight on g6. Now, I will tell you that in a mildly similar position, Fabi played knight ge7. And on the surface of it, I didn't like it. We're going to see when we look at the game that he does have a conception of what's going on in the position when he plays it. The issue of bishop f5 is maybe you need to be on c8 anyway. All right, that's the controversy, let's say, of bishop f5. Yeah, in particular, if you're just being fancy with bishop e4 and not producing results, then it might not be the best thing for your health. And of course, white has a clear threat here with bishop a6. We will see when we look at the game. There are several moves that I just don't get, I just don't get. And I want to say, actually, I should answer the question. My initial take from the beginning position is that black is a little bit better. There's a little bit of an edge. Not that he's winning or anything, but that black had a little bit of an edge. Oh my gosh, Kostya's going for it. Now, one of the things my coaches pointed out to me is that people who he's cruel, and he says things like, people who don't understand chess try to create a tactical solution. And arguably that's what Kostya's doing with knight b4 and bishop f5. I'm not as cruel as the Russian, but give me a break. Anyways, so knight b4, big questions obviously around rook c7. I'm assuming if rook c7, Kostya wants rook e7, but then rook c8, king f7. It's hard to imagine that white isn't better in those positions. Why? Because the knight on g6 is poor. The knight on g6 is poor. But like I said, there's a lot about this position that I quite possibly just simply do not understand. And so we're just going to let this play out here. Excuse me, I just blundered something, by the way. I said rook c7, rook e7, rook c8. Crying. Resist the temptation. Do not hang your rook on c8, please. All right. So knight a5 is also interesting. In general, this is a real moment for Mr. Proust that he's left as a this knight on c6 works as a plug on the c file, and Kostya has unplugged. He's unplugged the c file. All right, we are going to guess that Kostya's intentions are a3 And then I guess he could think about knight e3, but maybe also knight c2. Gives me a little bit of heebie-jeebies. And then, honestly, on both those moves, I have knight c5 at the end, you know? So white has a lot of good moves. Rook c7 comes first. Now, the question is, does white have anything special after rook e7? If you take on e7, you are mobilizing the black knight, which is like black's problem. Plus, you just got rid of black's main worry, which was the b file. So I'm going to go ahead and say I think rook c7, although it's of course the first move you look at, looks incorrect. Looks incorrect. Slothy, thank you for subbing. Now, hello, Kostya, what are you thinking about, buddy? It's rook e7. You don't got anything else, bud. What are you talking about? You got to play rook e7, dude. Does he want to throw in bishop e4 first and think that's clever? I don't know. Bishop e4, maybe it doesn't ruin anything, but no, yeah, rook e7. And I think Mr. Bruce, no, I don't like what he did. Oh, man, and so he just mobilized the bad knight. He spent time mobilizing the bad knight. Now, Mr. Proust told us, he actually goes back and rewatches this. So, Mr. Proust, I'm going to tell you, that wasn't good, bud. That wasn't good. That wasn't good, man. Now, one of the things that's amazing about the game, when we look at it, is the clever thing that Fabi did do was he kept tension in the position by not exchanging rooks. Kind of interesting. We'll see in a second. And just keeping the tension, even if we say for whatever reason that we don't think it's the best move or yada yada, it certainly is true that it gives us winning chances, right? Okay, so Kostya looks to me like he is better in this position. And here he has a choice between the natural bishop c8 and the violent bishop e4. A problem that kind of happens in the game as well is that the black king is more active, or easier to get to the center. We could put it that way, maybe. Bishop e4 is certainly like the going for it move. It's a spicy move, though. It's a spicy move because if you lose b7, you might end up losing more than that. Well, Slothy, it's definitely difficult. And there he goes, bishop e4. And my mean coach would say, you see, they don't understand chess. They're always looking for tactical solution. A jerk. A jerk. Okay. I think it was controversial to play bishop e4. Yeah. Because I think black could have claimed that he was a touch better with bishop c8. Is it special? I don't know if it's special, but he could have claimed it. Yep, and here's the interesting question. Now, see what I'm saying? This is not going to be a draw. Knight b7 is the big question, or David bails with knight e4. And in both cases, white can claim some kind of advantage. Knight b7, let's just say, is the more ambitious move. And I don't really know what Kostya is going to do after knight b7. I don't get it. Looks bad, dude. Looks like no bueno. That's what it looks like. People are saying things in chat that I don't understand, but that's okay. It wouldn't be the first time. Okay, and this is good that Bruce is thinking on this moment. He took on e4 first and played knight b7. Now, do I understand that? No, I don't understand. Why would you take on e4 first? That was a bad bishop, dude. That was not a good bishop. Now, yeah, I didn't like it. Now, he is still arguably better, but now black gets the option of knight f3. And Proust can tell us that it's meaningless, and maybe it is, but at least it's an option. For example, knight f3, king h1, knight e1, and if you play bishop a6, you got to wonder about knight d3 and what's happening. I'm assuming white is still better there, but it's complicated. Very complicated. Well, GM Cagnus Marlson. That's a fine question. How do you save the 8-pawn? Basically, Kostya's got to come up with some tricks, like knight f3, and then try to get the knight to d3. And
Jesse, I think Kostya's disconnected.
uh-oh.
He just dropped out of the Zoom call, right?
Yep, he did.
Wow.
Well, we have another technical problem of which I am not the author.
Yeah, that's right. but as we were saying before the show, Kostya should probably call you, right? If he wants a technical problem solved.
That's right, buddy. Mm-hmm. You hear that, DM Hokie? I'm the one who can solve the problems, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, he needs to, how does he get back on the call?
Kostya, probably clicking on his own link. One of us is probably the host now, and then we can just, I'm the host now. All right, so good. When he comes back, I can just let him back in.
All right, good. Do you think you're winning in this position, my friend?
Yeah. No doubt.
It's likely. Let's just, for fun, while we're waiting for Kostya, let's say knight f3 check.
Mm-hmm. King h1, exclam.
Exclam. Let's say knight e1.
I'm going to get my own move and exclam. Yeah. Knight e1. All right, so now you want to go knight d3, right?
I need to do something, boss. You're killing me here.
Yeah. It's probably okay to play like bishop a6, knight d3, b4, even though it gives some counterplay.
True.
Alternatively, I could play b4 here. But then you've got knight c2, right?
Honestly, okay. I think the easy way for you would be knight f3, king h1, knight e1, just knight c5. He's back. Mm-hmm.
Just, yeah, that might be easier.
Kostya.
Hey.
Did you have a technical glitch or something?
Yeah, my computer just shut down. I'm sorry.
I was just rejoicing in the fact, Kostya, that I'm not the only one who has technical problems.
No.
The whole world's got technical problems.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe a fun way to do this, given that at least it seems like Mr. Proust has the advantage, we could run it back with colors reversed and then talk about it.
Sure, that'd be fine.
Okay.
We can't continue.
We could. I could set it up, and if you guys want to continue, I could make it continue. Yeah. You want to continue, Kostya?
Yeah, we could play it out. Yeah.
Kostya believes in his position. All right. He believes. Let's go, my friends. Here we go. So, Mr. Bruce is white. Hello, Kostya. Black. And we go 530 unrated. Boop, boop. Here it comes. Boop. All right, here they go, guys. Oh, did I? No, it should be okay. It should be.
I think you got it.
Yeah.
Kostya's move here.
I think Pleafer's really nailed it. The position destroyed a CPU. I was thinking it was very clever, just to do that thing where you've got a losing position, be like, oh, my computer crashed. I don't want to play anymore. Right? Kostya's above that kind of thing. Kostya wouldn't do that. He says he blue screened. No. Everybody blue screened. Samuel Baltz, thank you for subscribing. Samuel, we are presently in this position where Kostya felt like he had some chance at survival, and we didn't understand why. If he doesn't move within the minute, though, we're going to have to reboot the game because chess.com is going to ask. Oh, there he goes, knight f3. Good. This was my only shot, and then I was trying knight e1, and then unfortunately...
I think Jesse's right about this knight c5 move coming up.
Oh, no. See,
I don't know if I would have
I told him the right
played it on my own if you hadn't mentioned it, but now I've been thinking about it. I don't know what to do but to play it.
Oh, that is an identity crisis. Hold on. We got to fix that. I can't have an identity crisis on my show, my friends.
See if I can't fix the labels like this. Maybe.
Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, I really blew it now. I really blew it now. Oh, Kostya, where'd you go, buddy? Where'd you go, little buddy? There he is. Nope. This one. There it is. I fixed it. Diamoke, I just want to tell you, buddy, I am a technical genius. I can solve identity crises. I can solve a lot. People don't give the Boomer GM any credit when it comes to technical issues, Diamoke. But I figured out how to solve the acid trip. I figured I can do it all. I can do it all, buddy. My rating is going up in the world of streaming. Up. We will definitely look at the Caruana game. Actually, it's kind of cheating to go look here. Oh, buddy. Yeah, it is very interesting. It is very, the pawn, if you can't see it, there's pawn h4 and pawn h3. Otherwise, you get the position. But I would have to crop that and take my attention away from this fine board. We will get to their position when we get to it. I felt we should just reboot it because Kostya's toast here, buddy. Toast. Especially after Mr. Bruce knows about my secret sauce move of knight e1, knight c5. Kostya's not giving up. He is done. Guys, check it out. You should go check out his Endgame course. Go check out his Endgame course. He's got some tactical notions or something for how to deal with these problems here. And, yeah, we're going to say the obvious. The obvious is toast. That in this position, it's not just that black's going to lose a pawn, but the bishop will be a rager in this kind of position because whenever you got passed pawns moving on the side of the board, the bishop is a monster. And some very advanced players might even say, oh, it's a big deal that the bishop controls the a8's queening square. Now, I'm not that advanced.
He wanted to restart the game, but he didn't want to move in the game.
No, he didn't want to move. I understand. Yeah, there's a link to Kostya's course. He's not giving up so easy. After you do your own endgame course, you don't give up that easy. There's no free pass for anyone anymore. All right, here goes f5. All right, let's see what his intention is. David's going to rip the pawn on a6. He's going to rip it. And then Kostya, what do you got for us, buddy? What is your intenzione? I just had a vision of Kostya mating Proust with the two knights, but I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, knight c6. What is the idea? He wants to maybe go knight e5 to d3. It's a long road, my friend. It's a long road. All right, well, David has some, I guess you could call them technical questions, but how does he want to advance the pawns? Now, we're going to say the easy way to advance them is to move the bishop and then play a4, a5, a6, a7. That's the way they did it back in the olden days. Yeah. And the bummer for black, let's just be clear about the bummer for black. Yes, you have an extra pawn on the king's side, but not only is it very difficult to make the passed pawn, but even if you do, you got the white king waiting for your pawn to get blockaded. Black, on the other hand, is a far many moves away from talking to the queen side. Been chess full day for me, man. Got up early, dealt with small children, been looking at chess all day. It was a good day. It's so cold in the house too, man, and I refuse to turn on the heat. And me and Smurberg, we've decided that that's true manliness, is to just not turn on the heat. No, don't do it. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know how it makes me a tough guy or not, but, when Smurberg said that, I identified with it. James W., you might be right. You might be right. We're going to look at that position after this. James W. is talking about the position that in this game between Fabi and Grandelius, from which we took this position, it is actually still ongoing. I did not lie when I said it was a topical endgame. It is happening right now. I like the way Mr. Proust is thinking here. He knows the position is winning, but he also wants to be careful about how he does it. And something kind of cool Mr. Proust has been doing is he has been doing pawn and knight endings. I guess most knight endings have a pawn anyway. But he's been knight endings by Averbach and Chekhov, I think. That's who it is by. And he's just been doing that on stream, just kind of, for himself, trying to figure it out. And I will say knight endgames, especially pure like knight against knight, some of the most vicious and complicated things ever. And that's one of the comforting things about that beautiful bishop that white has, is just that it can cover so much ground on both sides and it just makes white's life so much easier. For example, if it was a knight on a6, it would still be winning, but it would be a lot more complicated, man. A lot more complicated. All right, bishop b5. What's nice about this move is that it forces the knight to decide. So, for example, if he goes to knight e5, then the question is going to be like, how do you defend the pawn when it gets to a6? So instead, Kostya goes passive. Maybe he decided this is what he had to do anyway. I understand. And now the information that David has gotten is now instead of pushing the A pawn, our dream would be to push like the B pawn all the way down to B6 and get that tempo. So, question for David. There is the natural bishop c4 followed by one of the pawns up, or you get frisky with a move like bishop d7. Bishop d7, you're probably going to lose a tempo anyway later with knight e5 or king f7, king e7. David, like we've seen it before, he's a frisky dude. He's a frisky dude. So there it comes. And we are anticipating g6 here. And one basic idea, I don't know if David can pull it off, but a basic idea would be knight d6 followed by knight b5, just to make things in our life easy. If, for example, knight d6, now there's knight e5, and Dave's just going for it. Makes sense. And it's brutal. It's brutal. I think knight e5, I'm going to say it's forced because otherwise we have b5, b6 directly. Yeah, this is miserable. Why does Kosi do this to himself? Okay. I am refraining from looking at what is going on in the actual game. This one, it's at least a question for white. Bishop a4 is unsatisfying because you're blocking the a pawn. Knight c5 is definitely a thought. Knight c5 makes a lot of sense. I like knight c5. Just make it easy. The knight needs to move anyway, boss. No. King, the question could be, okay, that's probably fine too. On knight c5, you could wonder about king f8, e7, And on this one, we got to wonder about king f8, e7. But it's going to be fine. I'm anticipating knight c5 here, but maybe he's got other tricks. Okay. I always want to say the advantage of the pawn on b4 is now knight d3 won't come with such a hectic threat. Now, this is David. Sometimes he gets a little too frisky. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and say this is the level of frisk I'm not happy with. Maybe it's winning, but he's running the pawns in a way that feels early to me. Now, the man is vicious. He's vicious. And what he's saying is on knight d3, he's just going to say, screw it, I don't care anymore, and I'm just going to play b5. How do I know this? I've known Proust for a long time. So, but I'm unhappy with it. Knight d3, b5, king e7 or something. I don't know. I'm a little unhappy, Proust. And king e7 could happen now, too. Oh, Proust, don't make me unhappy, buddy. Yeah, I don't know. King e7, no, I'm not sure. Daddy's not completely sure here. All right, there it comes. Now, one reason I want to play king e7 first, okay, is if he plays king e7 now, I can throw in b6. And that looks very scary to a chap like myself. You know what I'm saying? And so I was thinking maybe king e7 first. So king e7, Mr. Proust has a question to answer. Running the pawns too quick, Mr. Proust. I didn't think there was a big rush, buddy. Here he comes, b6. It looks like knight c6 is forced. And that's a little spice in the life here. A little spice in the life. Okay. David, dude, you made it complicated, man. It wasn't supposed to be complicated. At least I didn't think it needed to be complicated. It was all of a sudden a little complicated. Now there it is. David is saying that that is going to win El ball game. Is it true? It might be true. It might be true. He's going for like the glory. The glory. Okay. Okay, maybe. Oh, this is actually where Coach's little tactical endgames. He has a shot at maybe finding some tricky wiki. The simple reason being that Black's king is closer. To get a little sticky in the wiki. So, knight b8 looks sad, but it might be our move. Now, that's a pretty sad move, actually. So knight b8, bishop c4, and if, say, knight db4, knight c5. Even then, I don't know. There's questions about king d6 and such, but it looks winning. Maybe it's just completely winning. Maybe it's just completely winning. It's just got a little tactical, as all. Now, let's say the sad thing about knights is if you put a pawn on a7, it's very difficult to stop the queen because it's two threats. Takes the knight and pawn a8. That's why the general rule of thumb about knights being terrible against passed pawns, well, it's very true, my friends. Now, maybe what we'll do here is play knight f2. Let's say king g2, knight d1. And if a6, knight takes a6. With a lost position, but a glimmer in my eye. Right? I don't know, little glimmer. Ghosted made it a game, right? He turned it into a game. Yeah, they both got pretty good focus face data blocks, it's true. After this, we're going to look at the game itself. Is it still being played? It's still being played. Wow. Still being played. And then we're going to do a dojo talks. Mr. Proust has come up with an idea of how the World Championship should be organized. And so he's going to lay out his argument about the ideal World Championship format. And then me and Kosti are going to respond. You know, give some critique or whatever you want to say about it. And Sombrero is saying that Fallujah is number 4 now on the 2,700 list, 2 points behind Fabi. So if he loses it, Fallujah is definitely number 3. And if he draws it, Fallujah's maybe even there. I don't know if he gets a full 2 points there. Probably not, but it is close. King h2. We're going to call that mildly counterintuitive, but he clearly feared some kind of king g2, knight d1 thing. I don't know if he needed to, though, because king g2, knight d1, a6, knight e3 isn't going to work. King f2, knight c4, a7, and we will get our queen. Right? Right. All right, so things are getting a little weird. Getting a little weird with the old king h2. I don't know, Mr. Proust. I don't know. Here's a very amazing variation. King d7, a6, king c6, a7, king here, bishop d5, dog. How do you like them apples? So here we go. Knight d3 was played. And we are anticipating a6 here. After which, dude needs to take sack the knight. Now, the reason there's minor chances for black is if I get the b pawn somehow, then I might have a shot at this. Can I get the b pawn? I'm not sure. I don't see a direct way to win the b pawn, but I also know that in a time scramble like this, it's chaotic enough that white is going to have to be, even if it's true that he's winning, he's going to have to be ultra precise. I definitely don't want to play bishop d3. No. I don't. No. Don't want to do that. All right. So, Mr. Proust using his time, thinking about. But here's the thing: besides a6, is there even another move? Right? What else are you gonna do, boss? You gotta play a6. Ooh, bishop b5. It's getting weird. It's getting weird, Mr. Proust. It's getting weird, buddy. It's getting weird. Daddy don't like it. Daddy doesn't like it. That is too fancy. Too fancy. So his claim is that Mr. Proust always makes things hard. His claim is that knight b4. He's going to be winning the game after knight c5. I don't know. It's a fancy move. The white, let's say the obvious, if this works out, it's because Mr. Proust is being a genius by controlling d6, d7, d8 for the moment, and now I guess knight c5. Might work. That's okay. Very problem-based. So, knight c5, king d6, a6. And part of the bummer is no matter which knight you take, I am going to be threatening the other knight when I take. That seems to be the problem to me. So, knight c5, I'm guessing is the L move here. Oh, he did play knight c5, sorry. For whatever reason, didn't update for me. Yeah, this looks clean. I don't see any way out at the moment. Okay, maybe clever. But we're going to say, no, okay. It's at least a move. Now, the obvious question is going to be, can dude play b7 and then a6, a7, no matter what he does? Seems like he can. Yeah. There might be other ways. Oh, also incredibly brutal is a6, knight b6, a7, and there's no spot for the knight on b8. There's no spot for the knight on b8. Yikes. There's no spot for the knight on b8, buddy. Oh, no. Now, okay, we got to say if a6, then black takes on a6, takes on b6. So there's that. All right, so b7, the more natural move, right? Okay, so the simple claim is that white is going to play a6 next, and then toasted and roasted and downright toasted. Now, knight c7, he could do now, but it doesn't really stop anything. a6, a7 is still coming after we move the bishop. Yeah. Yep. And obviously black is looking for a fancy way to sack his business. I did an endgame. This is hilarious. I did an endgame lecture about the two knights mate, where your opponent has a pawn, and that actually came where I came out of the theoretical possibility of a game I had, a blitz game I had against Kostya, where like I might have been able to achieve the position. Right. Anyways, I did a lecture I was happy with there. Is it A7? Is it A7 here, my friends? A7 looks hard to deal with. Anyways, that was achieved by, I had a winning position and Kostya danced. He danced and was able to, it wasn't quite, this is not possible to get, but it just reminded me of that. And Kostya is a very, he wants to fight. He doesn't want to give up. And we saw this. We gave him the chance to just give up. Instead, he got this position. The pawns have marched. Yeah, he's like, that's pretty good. All right, good game. Holy moly. All right, so I will grab the PGN of this fine game. And we'll go over here. I'll load it. And then I'll invite these bros over. Ooh, you know what? Chess.com, this is our problem. We can't, it never works. It used to be you could grab it, and now you can't grab it anymore. Fail from the old Chess.com. They're like redoing the site or something, and no one knows why. But anyways, we can recreate the moves, no problemo here. So first, let's invite Mr. Bruce. Oh, wait a second. No. How do I do this? Crying. What are you doing? What are you doing? Did I create this? I thought I created this analysis board. Oh, it wouldn't let me do it. That's right. Okay, so let's do this. Did I do this? Nope. I've already blown it. Okay, guys. Let's check it out. And
oh, here, I got it, Jesse.
did you get, because you can't, chess.com doesn't let you steal the moves anymore. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is a real disaster zone here.
Okay, I've invited you to a board.
Okay.
Yeah, something with the PGN is always weird.
Okay, good. I don't know how you did it, but it was great magic. Oh, but this was the second part of the game.
Oh, right. Oops.
Oh, yeah, sorry. You want the first one first? I'll open the first one too.
Definitely the first one.
I'll give you both. Hang on. Okay, so here I'll invite you guys. Don't close the other one. You can just have both open.
Okay. And I just got news. Fabi just won. Kostya had a false alert earlier. The game was actually still going on. Okay. So let's say I thought, like I was telling chat, I thought this was, oh, okay. I'll just tell chat what I told you. I told you guys what I told chat, and you can respond. A little bit like David said, it's a battle between static pluses for white, where the bishop on c8 is bad, contrasted with dynamic strengths for black. Namely, it's our move, we got the rook out, and some of white's pieces don't really know what they're doing yet. So given that, I was like, dude, we got to do something now.
Yep.
And I thought knight f4 was the move, but this was the first moment where Fabi, I was wrong, at least in terms of like trying to play like Fabi, because Fabi did play f6.
Wow. Kostya. You're on Fabi's team. I'm on Jesse's team.
That was my first instinct. Yeah.
Let's just see here. So, it's not letting me move, David.
It's not?
Oh, I saw the f6.
You're a student. We saw you make a move.
Oh, because I just played knight f4 and it wouldn't let me. I don't see it.
Let me see. Wait, it won't let me move either. What?
You must have stolen it. See, chess.com doesn't like it anymore, dude.
Stolen it from myself?
Here, let me just let me see if let me try something here.
Oh, it looks like Fabi did win.
Yeah. I just said that, buddy. I just said that.
Oh, you said he won?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the result.
Okay, hold on. Let me try a trick. I got one trick left in my bucket.
I can't move anything. What is
Okay.
going on?
Let me invite you guys to the board. I got it, buddy. Here's Bruce is being invited, and we gotta find Mr. Hello Kostya. There he is. Okay, so right, I thought I'm gonna flip the board just for perspective here. I thought knight f4. Now maybe I'm wrong, you know. I mean, and maybe the problem is that because one of the interesting things about this game, you guys, is that Fabi found a way to keep the game going, right? And maybe on knight f4, what Fabi sees is white can kind of end the game with rook e1. Maybe.
I thought that would be semi-forced. I mean,
and what is the intuition of a knight f4? Just that, hey, I got to do something. And, you know, like let's say snip, snop, bishop f5.
mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. And it's true. I don't know what's happening because bishop f5 allows knight c5, and we have similar problems as in the game. And if I do not play bishop f5 and play knight e6, then why does white have a problem?
Yeah.
Right?
I would have played bishop f5 there too, I think. I mean, that was what I was anticipating.
Yeah. So maybe that is the answer. Knight f4.
Yeah, I thought rook e1, and it's just I don't know. I didn't say anything.
But let's. Oh shoot! Let me try one more dumb thing. Let's say I keep the tension. I know it looks weird.
What?
Well, we're going to see that. I think one of the things that Fabi does that's at least practically ingenious is that he keeps the tension when the rook's on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm becoming less convinced of my move, though. For example, maybe knight e5.
Yep.
Okay, maybe I've answered my own question there. And here's another thing, David. I thought that g3 was like a given from white. White did not play g3. White did not play g3. He played rook c1.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just to show you what Fabi did, he then plays knight g7.
Wow.
And I was kind of like, wait a second, boss. I was like, wait a second, boss. I thought the whole idea was that you had, a couple nice things like the rook and the king, and that you need to act pronto before white's pluses reveal themselves. And in fact, what Fabi is seeing is like, dude, just mellow out a second and realize that white can't do much over there, and that I can play for like g5 and h5. You know? And that's what we're going to see in the game. And one of the amazing things about the game is, of course, mistakes are going to be made on both sides. And Grandelius plays some moves that I need to ask you guys about. I honestly, I need to go to therapy over. It's just like, I don't know what you're doing, man. You're freaking me out with the moves you're making. But in any case, mistakes are going to be made on both sides. And then the game went hours and hours and hours. Truly hours. I mean, what are we talking about? It went 6 hours. 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
6 hours. It just ended now. So we'll take a look at the game itself. But one of the interesting things about the way Fabi played is just that he kept it going, you know, and that he didn't mind what looks optically to me like an initiative on the queen side, right? Okay, but let's look at you guys' game.
Yeah, I can't believe you won the game. That's crazy.
Well, one of the things, Kostya, that you did here is you are instantly searching for a tactical solution. And that creates grief. So, first of all, I did yell at David a little bit too. So we got bishop f5, rook c1.
What did you yell at me for?
I yelled at you here for rook c7.
Oh.
because I didn't want you to exchange your rook off.
Okay.
It was, let's flip the colors just to think about it. Because, and the other thing is when you trade it off, you fix Kostya's truly bad piece on G6.
Yeah, there's some moves I played in this game, Jesse, where my instinct was like my instinct was to play it, and then when I thought about it, I was like, but everything's wrong about that move, and then I just went with my instinct anyway. And Rook C7 was one of those moves.
Okay. Now, it is true that it's not the easiest thing to know what to do here. I think there's A3 is obvious as a question, but then you do have to calculate both knight C2 and knight D3. Knight A5 is an interesting move too, which I'm going to go ahead and say that's got to be at least better for us with knight A5.
Knight A5?
Yeah.
I never even saw that move. What's the idea against knight A2 or B6 or anything?
Well, on B6, I have knight C6, and I'm going to win. I'm going to extend the scope of my bishop on F1. And on knight C6, I don't know. Maybe you have a genius move like Rook C8, honestly. But I didn't, That's true. You might have actually a genius move with knight A5, B6, knight C6, Rook C8. That might be full genius level right there.
I mean,
but okay, so
like a 1 to 2 move tactic, isn't it?
Well, I'm just saying, here's your moment, and it is a difficult moment. I'm not sure what to do, but I'm pretty sure it's not Rook C7.
Not what I did.
Yeah. Right? Okay, so let's look. Rook C7. And now I think black has to be fine. And then Kostya commits a crime, high crime. Bishop E4.
Yeah, not a good move.
Wait, why is black just fine?
Well, he just plays bishop C8.
Okay. And then
Arguably, black's better here.
I guess you could argue anything, but why?
Because my king's better and my knights are better.
Wow.
Yeah, I think black was better here. I thought it was just about equal because I want to go knight F5. And then, yeah, so bishop D3.
Yeah, so here we're going to either do king F7 or G5. You take your pick. I don't know. One of those moves.
Up to you. I don't.
G5.
I would consider A5 to prepare B6 also.
Yeah, I'm not in a rush because when I play B6, then knight A4 is going to be a problem.
Oh, right.
And now, there's weird tactical, I'm just going to assume I got to do this before I play king F7. King F1? I don't know.
I can't play king F1.
Oh, what did you do? Have you been hanging the pawn this whole time?
I've been offering
I
to
didn't
trade
even
it for
realize you
your
were hanging
B7 pawn. I assumed you didn't want to make the trade, but with check, you'll take it.
Yeah. I have to admit, I wasn't looking at it.
That's okay. That H pawn is cramping my style here.
You probably have to play H4 or something. I don't know.
But then you can play G4 and take on D4.
Yep. No, black's a little bit better. Yeah. Maybe
I admit I don't know what to do next.
I'll admit, David, I might have had a similar response that you just had. You heckled me and you were like, what? How can black be better? Because it looks like white has some static advantages, but just kind of like also the position with the rook on, black is the one whose king has more juice. And yeah, white is the one who has the problem with the D4 pawn right now.
Maybe. we should put the bishop on g2 at some point here.
Well, okay, fair enough.
And then bring the king towards e3.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally a thought. Then I do get to play b6, though, without any recrimination.
Yeah, just b6, knight a4.
Yeah, okay.
No, and then
totally a thought. And I thought one of the things in the game, too, when white didn't play g3, I was screaming at chat. I was like, dude, don't I want to put my bishop on g2? You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
In any case, I think after this, black's in big trouble.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because once you lose the b pawn, then it turns into a situation where the bishop is amazing. I felt actually, David, that your move probably winning as well. But since you go back and watch this, you'll see I screamed at you a little bit that I don't know why we'd take the bad bishop.
I know. This was the other point in the game, Jesse, where my instincts, like all along I'd been planning, rook c7, rook e7, knight d2, knight takes bishop, knight b7. And we got here and I was like, but why would I trade my knight for that terrible bishop? And I thought about it for a while and I'm like, well, I don't know why, but it's the move for me. I played it.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like black is worse either way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, in hindsight, it was just like, well, I was looking at it, I was like, if knight f3 doesn't do anything, then black's lost anyway.
Yeah, I think I'm just lost. I don't know.
You played on, though, after the whole computer crash thing. It seemed like you had to have some hope if you felt like...
I mean, yeah, it just seemed a little early to resign. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Kostya's seen me not win pretty good positions before.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's do this. Why don't I grab the game, and then we can look at what actually happened. And we can see, both sides there made mistakes.
But
and
Jesse,
weird
can
moves.
you tell me, do you think knight takes bishop was a mistake or like...
You mean here where you play knight d e4?
Yeah.
Well, I think on an objective level, it's not a mistake because you're winning after d e4. But I don't know what we're going to call it from a strategic level, right? Why would we do it? Because it's terrible, like you said.
I don't know. I mean, it simplifies the game. I mean, I was expecting knight takes b7 as well, but I mean, it's hard to see what black does in the game.
No, it's true. No, that's why I said I don't think it's objectively a mistake.
So each time I went with my instinct, I shouldn't have.
Okay. And the real question, I guess, in terms of analysis, right? Let's say I was analyzing my own game. It would be, what could I have done instead of rook c7?
Yeah.
And I don't have an instant answer. It just feels to me like that was the wrong move.
Okay, well, let's quickly ask, what about a3, knight d3?
Right. And the first question is going to be bishop takes, knight c5.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we got to say at the very least, that's very unpleasant. It's very unpleasant.
Yeah. I was afraid that it would somehow be like loose, this e2 square.
Yeah. Maybe like bishop e2?
Or maybe bishop f5 to attack h3 and use that as the time for rook e2.
Also a move.
But okay, bishop e2 you want to play, and then here and rook e7? b6?
Maybe b6. Let's say rook e7.
Oh, sorry, one thing, Kosi. I was thinking a problem with bishop e2 or bishop e4 might be rook e1.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Rook e1, right.
Good move.
Yeah, this is annoying. Yeah, let's say bishop f5.
Okay. It's bishop f5. And then, king g2, rook e2 is the idea. I suppose h4 could be played also.
Also, just knight takes b7 because we're making claims about passed pawns.
Right.
And let's make another claim about passed pawns.
Yeah, that they should be pushed. Must be pushed. Could be pushed.
will be pushed.
And then you're just putting the rook on c3, and you don't think the situation's too loose. Huh?
It's definitely still tactical, but I believe in white's passed pawn, and the knight on g6 is the thing I don't believe in, right?
Yeah.
All right. Bishop e4.
Well, you were the one.
You
gave.
You even going to play just rook c3? You're not going to move it.
That was my thought anyway.
Yeah. Okay, I believe you. I was scared of this. I just felt like too loose for white. Basically, this bishop for knight trade, I was scared that it was too loose with rooks on.
Oh, I lost him.
Me too.
Oh, there he's back. No, he's frozen. He's frozen out, Ghost. Yep.
On the board.
Oh, there
and
you
once
go.
I played rook c3.
Yeah, we lost you for a second, David. But
Oh, sorry.
but I think I
I was saying like that exact scenario with the trade on d3 and then knight c5. With rooks off the board, I thought it's just winning for white. Like you take a pawn and black's doing nothing. But with rooks on the board, I was afraid it was too loose, and that's why I ended up playing
Fair enough. Yeah.
rook c7. But it seems like I was wrong on all my evaluations.
And I want to say with a3, the thing that gives me a little hesitation is I don't believe in knight c2, but I would be like, maybe he can do that, I
didn't believe in it.
I don't believe in it, but that's just the kind of thing I would be worried about,
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking I would go knight c5,
knight
threatening
c5,
g4.
yeah, just knight c5. It's fine, actually. The knight on e7, g6 is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, knight d3 was definitely the move.
Yeah. But I think Ghostia, man, dude, you're making it tactical here. Look at that. Boom.
Honestly, that move came out of absolute like left field for me. Like I hadn't considered it. He played it. I was like, what is he trying to do to me?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's the
like he
plug
wants
of
my
the C
a
file.
pawn. I could play a3. Yeah. What's going on?
So you're saying I should have just played like knight e7, bishop c8, g5, just load it down?
Yeah, and you could start off with king f7 you got to play knight e7 first, yeah. Now, I got to say, this is, of course, I have the advantage of having seen the game. And I think if I had just been looking, if you'd shown it to me cold, maybe like Bruce, I would be like, feels like white has something. But I definitely I don't know what to think about this position here, but definitely the one where this one, this one I like black for sure. Yeah, that seems pleasant.
Wow. So it's just bishop e4 should just go to c8, and
And of course, when you play bishop f5, as Kostya did, you're of course, you're dreaming of doing something active like bishop.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like all three of us would have had some instinct that black should get the bishop off of c8 and try and like get something active before white locks in a knight on c5 and stuff.
Right.
And Fabi did the opposite.
Yeah, so let's take a look. I think I have this loaded. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. All right. So let's start at the beginning. Here was the position. And I should say, just to set the scene, this guy he's playing, Grandelius, I really like him. And one of the questions that's been interesting watching the tournament is like, what's the difference between a 2650 and a 2800? And maybe a 2800 who's struggling a little bit. Grandelius is a great player, played many great games. Part of the issue was that he was already in a little bit of time pressure here. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. F6 as stated, rook c1, and then knight e7. And in hindsight, what I'm learning from this is black keeps the tension. And I like Grandelius' move. He could do I wanted g3, but his move makes sense. King f7. I understand bishop d3. h6. Now, given what Fabi later plays, maybe h5 would be a improvement. But king f1, g5.
Unless he doesn't want white to play h4, maybe?
Right. I think there was some issues with h4, but yeah.
Okay.
And I like Grandelius's move. The knight on f3 is bad. Let's fix it. h5. Knight e2. h4. So what's cool about this is I don't think Fabi has anything in particular, but he's improved his position on the king side. The pawns f6, g5, h4 are working with the tucked-in bishop, right? And he's claiming knight c5 basically never does anything. And, black's king is better.
Is that knight any better on e2 than it was on f3?
Well, it does get to go to c3.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to see he changes his mind in just a second. And knight c3 is weird because it's blocking the rook, right? Okay, now here's the second moment where I didn't approve of what Fabi did. I still have real problems with it. And that is he plays f5.
Whoa.
And there was a real back and forth in chat. Like, Mr. Rosenberg wanted to play g4 for black next move. I was like, no, don't do it, because you'd be giving away the dark squares, like f4.
Mm-hmm.
And f5, it's a really strange move to me because, to my mind, it committed you to playing f4, which is kind of nebulous gains. And it's taking away, obviously, the bishop on c8 scope and the use of the f5 square.
Well, he's setting up the threat of f4 to f3 at some point, right? So that's going to make white make a tough decision. He's also preventing the idea of knight d1 to e3.
All right, so it was a very interesting moment. I wasn't like... Already, I want to applaud Fabi for just getting this position because it's true. Like, this is interesting and dynamic, and you have chances to win, whereas, like, the chump GM would have played some other thing and the position would have liquidated. But I don't... It's hard to know what to do. Maybe rook d8? I don't know. I don't have a clue. But I don't like f5. I really don't. I really didn't like it. So... knight e2, and here already, do you want to play f4? And Fabi says no, he doesn't want to play f4. And the problem with f4, and maybe I think this is what he missed, because what's cool about this move, knight e2, is that it introduces f4 as an idea, plus it says, oh, now you can't move the knight on e7, and if you play f4, the knight is doing this, and you'd be like, wait, the knight was just there. But now the difference is f4, knight d2, knight f3 with a beautiful knight.
Ooh.
And I think maybe I can imagine Fabi missing that. It's like a backwards move that since the knight's been useful on b3, it's a little bit counterintuitive.
Right. And you maneuvered like your knight off of f3 that was bad. Your b3 knight was the good one the whole time.
Right. Now the situation's changed. Now we're going back to f3.
If white had played f4, he would have played g4 for black, right?
I don't know what else to do for him. And then the argument is that those pawns are at least annoying. Is it true? I don't know. I felt like white could have definitely played f4. Also, on this next move, he could have played f4.
Right. I think black's argument after f4, g4 is that the white knights are a little bit awkward because white doesn't have control of e3, f3, or g3. So like it becomes hard to maneuver the white knights.
The awkwardness is shared, though, because Federico, the f-pawn, doesn't get to move forward to liberate the bishop on c8, where the bishop on c8 is truly bad at that point. Right?
I don't know. He's living his best life on c8.
He's living his best life. Well, his best life wants a scope, a window, at least a window. Give me a window.
Least a window
Give
to watch
myself
other
a
lives.
window. So now, Mr. Rosenberg guessed this one. This was a nice move, knight d8. And now a move this is the one I need therapy on. I need therapy. Like, white can do a lot of things. Let's mention some ideas. F4, bishop B1, knight F3. All of these are moves that if white had made it, it wouldn't make me scream. Arguably, maybe even rook C5 is no good. In any case, those are some of the moves that make sense to me. There's a place in my heart even for maybe like B4. Sure, all those moves, if he had played them, would make sense to me. He plays a move, rook C3.
I'm really expecting knight F3 there, Jesse. I feel like once the pawn's off F6.
Well, you're preaching to the choir, son. You're preaching to the choir. Okay, so let me just say, I outlined all those moves. Why rook C3? I need help. I don't get it.
I guess dude was tired.
Well, maybe let me give it a try. Maybe he was expecting Fabi to play like knight F7, like on knight F3, knight F7. And here on knight F7, he wants to go rook B3.
But he can never do knight F7 because then rook C7 lands with a thud.
Oh, so Fabi he wanted knight E6. Maybe knight E6, rook B3 is the idea.
I guess.
I don't know. You make a nice Tetris piece with the white pieces, like the two knights, the bishop, and the rook.
Question for you, Jesse. If knight
Wait, Dave, we're just going to let that reference go? A Tetris piece? I've never heard that before. That was amazing. We got a Tetris piece going on here?
What's that?
How about the Tetris piece?
Where's the Tetris piece?
This whole construction thing here that he's got going on. Yeah, it's a weird little Tetris piece. That's going to be part of my vocabulary now.
Not saying it's good, but it looks nice.
So Fabi got frisky and played. I think knight E6 to me would have been the default move. Fabi gets frisky.
On knight F3, knight F7, rook C7. Can Black just bring the king to D6 and kick you back out?
I mean, maybe it's pretty frisky. The knights, I don't know. I think that's frisky because even if you get there, I just move my rook back, and you got to worry about E5 and the rest of it, and knight C3 someday too. You got to worry about. I'd rather be white there. If I can land and keep my rook there, I want to stay. And here's the weird thing. Fabi was talking about maybe rook B3, and then later he plays rook B3, and I'm like, what? What? Okay, so it goes like this. Bishop D7, Fabi's getting frisky. He's dreaming about all kinds of stuff, and then dude plays here, and Fabi's like, oh, damn, now I have to do this. And then I'm like, oh, white's better now again. He's better again. Okay, so king E6, we bring it down. And then look, rook C3 again. I need therapy, my friends. I need therapy. What is going on? I'm dying. I'm dying inside.
Playing some secret mini game where you get points for playing rook C3.
I'm dying. He's in love with this move, rook C3, and I can't figure it out. I mean, even if a move's wrong, usually I can be like, oh, well, he's dreaming of such and such,
Maybe it's just a good square for the rook, Jesse, because the third rank's more open than the first rank. It's just like a random square on the C file to be on.
I mean, think about the other improvements we could do. We could play king E1, D2. We could play, king E1, D2 kind of screams out, but we could play B4, we could play F4. All these things are talking to me. There's no need to move the rook.
Mm-hmm. God, I would go knight G1 to F3. Why is there no knight on F3?
Knight G1, F3. You could think about that too. Yeah. So I did not understand this. And this is where I kind of left the game where, not quite yet, where now Fabi's getting the edge because he's dancing with the rook in inexplicable ways. And here, I think white's still okay, but he makes this move, which seems genius at first with the intention of bishop A5, H5, but now Fabi seizes the initiative. And now we're a little bit better.
See, the rook on c3 was stopping the move f3 there.
So this is where we left it, and I definitely felt that black had a clear edge here because we're going to win that pawn. But here we got Proust's knight coming to f3. By the way, we can't be too critical here because at this point they're living off increment. Well, actually, I take it back. At move 40, they got they got some little bit more time. But then
I would have played bishop d3 on move 41, Jesse.
And then knight c4.
Okay. But then I guess that allows f3.
But also knight c4. What are you going to do? Take it? Right? Yeah.
I popped in on your.
Let's see here. Okay, David, your Skype was out briefly. Maybe bishop d3, but knight c4, you're in suffering, right? Or f3. Both those moves look pretty bad.
Yeah.
So here we go. Boom, boom. This is resourceful. Boom, boom. Again, I think probably lost. But knight f7, knight e5, b4. Check to the miserable king. Check to the miserable king. Always repeat. Oh, no. Oh, dude, look at that.
That was a dirty position.
Look at that. My friends, he did the Polgar mates when he was just 10 years old or something. Look at that. Bang! Take that, you miserable dog.
Yeah.
Nice.
That is why Fabi is 2,800, my friends. And when did he see it? He saw it at, I guess here is where he saw it. Bishop a4, rook b4, bam. Dang. Always repeat. Okay, so there if DE, he's got bishop c2. So this happens. Ooh, what?
Wow.
That's a vicious little move right there. That f3.
Oh my god. Dude, Terminator activated. F3.
It still might be a draw, too. I don't know. It's close. But the problem, of course, is the dirty pawn on h3. Oh, passivus.
That's interesting that he brought his bishop back to f5 instead of g2, right?
Oh, man, this is just resigns. Goodbye. Wow.
Rook G2, knight G3.
Rook h2, knight f1 becomes a threat.
Yeah.
So,
And if you play rook h2, it's knight f4.
Right.
Or just knight g3 with that same threat of knight f1. The rook's got no space.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You'd have to like back away with your own king and let the black king come up to f4.
Yeah.
So I have problems with a lot of what Fabi did earlier, but that finish, the tactical finish, dude, wait, we got to look at it again. So hold on. So bishop d1, exclam. First we repeat, because Russians repeat. Then we do this. And we're, by the way, this position with DE, it's not necessarily totally trivial. Because white will win the pawn. And that's a lot of pawns.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pawns. In fact, that's maybe one of the reasons why Fabi repeated over here, just to assure himself that he's not losing or something.
I think I saw this moment. I think he can play, he can start with F3 here as well to get a better version.
Oh, good job. Yep.
This might have been the idea.
Even here, let's cruise through this. So GF, here, here,
Yeah.
here, here. Still not simple, right?
Maybe
I would think king e6 is really comfy.
maybe in the other line instead of f3, play rook g1 at the end of that other line. It's pretty similar to this.
And then let's go ahead and say that in time pressure, it's easy to overlook this baby. Look at that. Bam! Ooh! Bam! Oh, sweet mother of God. And then I think here he might just say to himself, it's winning. And
Yeah, no, that's
you couldn't go to
very
g2
impressive.
rook g1.
amazing. Amazing. Okay, you guys. Well, let's wrap it up there. DM Hokie, that's a cut.